I can transfer. No. I can try.
Like if you see a page of English, you can turn it into English.
Yeah. Except if it is like a little bit complicated to me.
Right.
It may be a little difficult to find the appropriate words in English.
Right.
If there is a dictionary or something,
So
I think in Google has that dictionary.
yeah.
Google the
Okay. Can you take a test?
Yeah.
There's some Hindi books in the Hindi books in the Brazil.
Mhm.
You have Hindi books in there? If you take one Hindi book, that's closing in English, but don't look at it. You know what I mean?
That's translated.
Yeah. Can you come over here?
Like Srila Prabhupada used to translate books.
Is that not?
Srimanti. Srimanti.
Just looking.
Okay.
Look at all the work.
This is on me. I thought they were taking this to. I need to wipe it still. I thought they were taking. Are they using this for the?
Are you taking this to the test?
No, this is all stuff in the future. We don't want to go to
Oh, okay. So they're doing. So they're doing. They don't even.
Oh. Everyone teaches one thing.
Mosquito.
Where do you want it?
Let's take it on this one.
Or is that a trick?
Mosquito.
Where do you want it?
Let's take it on this one.
Or is that
These
Okay, so why can I do a colour fest outside?
Shirt's fine, yeah, because
Yeah.
we already have
We're
the
just
stuff.
talking, we're gonna. Yeah, actually, it's not close.
And those two can go as well. And then this one, and then this, these ones can go somewhere else.
It's also, yeah, it's also the shell. No, it's actually 10 colors. What colors are in the other sheet? You got it in.
Okay.
Actually, that's an check this. We're gonna take that in the
Those hairs are getting in your eye.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
One hair. So hard to get it out. But from far away, you can't see all the way out.
Maybe it's short for me to yeah. That goes.
Yeah, it's
Like
really long.
we watched it, it's been ironing, so
Yeah, so clean.
Oh, this first.
under that and then we have to watch it.
I sent it to her by one. I did my. And also, I spoke to Devinath, and he said that the only one they have is they're doing for the Shiva. But I know where we may be able to find it.
Because
One at the top of the unit, just like the size. Very expensive. They're a lot. Do you want to get a bigger one, or do you want a small one? Okay, yeah, I do that immediately. And then also, if we want, I know that Shatri, she's going to Brazil, so maybe she's in town one more day. But she has her, I don't think we can use for Tulsi because we use the very good of the oil. She has a sheer garlic ring. We can probably use that. Yeah, and this is really nice. It comes with its own hanger. And it will last. Thank you. Yeah, and I made sure to spray all the bougainvilleas because I know they don't.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamaham Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Ajnanatimirandasya Ajnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Iti Namane Vandeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Rupanuga Pravaram Brajarasa Rasikam Cha Narayanam Tam Prapanam Shri Guru Charanam Bande Ramana Prishtaya Bhutale Rupanuga Bhaktitam Cha Kripa Murtim Narayanam Shri Krishna Lila Katani Sudaksha Madhurya Madhurya Gunaischa Yuktam Parambrahmanyam Guru Shamantam Narayanam Tvam Shirashanamami Namo Vishnu Padaya Shri Keshava Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Bhamana Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashyantya Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Acharya Simharupine Shishimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshaviti Namine Atimartya Charichaya Swachitanam Chapaline Jivaduke Siddharthaya Srinama Premadayane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshavanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhuve Namaha Madhurya Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Mortaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudamba Siddhanta Dvante Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Shakshar Vairagya Mortaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Parambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vidodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Svarapaya Rupanuga Virayate Gaura Bhava Bhumestam Nirdesta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namah Anchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavidanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Suratar Gaur Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasya Parambojo Radha Madana Mohana Divya Vrindaranya Kalpajumalaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Vrishalavi Sevyamano Smanami Srimad Rasarasarampi Vamsibata Tatastita Karshan Venu Sonia Gopir Gopinata Shri Sunaha Vindayato Siddhya Priyai Keshavasicha Krishna Bhakti Paradevi Sachivitya Namo Panchatatmatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Were you planning to start the one? And I just had a thought, maybe you set it all up for nice for yourself, and I came in and just
The Vaishnava Goswami from default.
page 22. Krishna Vaite Chatur Mukha Hoya Krishna Sevan Mukha Brahma Vaite Nara Deramati Narada Vaite Vyasa Madhvakaya Vyasa Dasa Purna Pragya Padmana Bhagati Narhari Madhava Vamse Akshobhya Paramamse Shishya Bodhi Ambe Karakare Akshobhyera Shishya Jaya Tirtanami Parijaya Taradase Gyana Sindhudare Tavite Doya Nidhi Aradasa Vidya Nidhi Rajendra Ilotade Taira Kinkara Jaya Dharmanami Parijaya Parampara Dhanavamate Jaya Dharma Rasi Shri Dasatirthatara Dasa Lakshmipati Dasa Tate Shrimaravinda Puri Maravinda Puri Vara Shisha Vara Shishu Vijayananda Shri Advaita Ishvara Pari Kedanya Pari Linga Shri Chaitanya Jagaguru Gaura Mahaprabhu Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nani Anya Rupa Nuga Janela Jivana Vishwamara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana Rupa Priya Mahajana Jivara Gunata Vara Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa Krishna Dasa Priya Vaya Narottama Sevakaya Varapada Vishwanatha Vishwanatha Bhakta Sata Baladeva Jaganatha Harapriya Shri Bhakti Vinoda Bhagavata Vada Shri Vara Kishora Vada Hari Bhakti Jaya Moda Shri Varsavana Vira Sada Seva Seva Jaya Daika Dasana Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Swarupa Rupanura Shri Keshava Bhakti Pragyana Gauriya Vedanta Vita Maya Maya Tamanta Gauravani Pachara Chadama Pacharayo Gauravani Bhakti Vedanta Swami Harayo Prabhupada Keshapriya Mahajana Bhavana Gauravani Dhage Pradha Devi Savari Jana Gauravani Jajana Adena Vishiste Murata Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Page 36, Shri Vaishnava Vandana. Vrindavana Vasi Jato Vaishnavera Gana Pratame Vandana Kori Savara Charana Nivachala Vasi Jato Chatamagana Bhumite Bodhiyamando Sabara Charana Navadvipa Vasi Jato Chatabhagavata Dosashami Mohatame Karuni Jadasa Sarvavancha Siddhi Hori Amamanta Chute Jagate Durlabhaya Prema Dhana Lute Manye Ramasana Puna Acharita Hoya Devaki Nandana Dasa Ego Viko Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav. Page 200. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivedaya Kori Swaparsada Sriya Dhamma Sahavatari Atyanta Durlabha Prema Parivare Dhana Sikaya Saranagati Akatera Prana Dainyatmani Vedana Gopchit Vivarana Avasya Rakshire Krishna Vishwasaparaya Bhaktiyanukula Macha Kayera Sritara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Bhajanangikara Saranga Saranagati Oi Vijaya Kara Partana Sune Srinanda Kumara Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Chena Gori Akati Vinora Pade Guru Paradori Kariya Kariya Mole Amitarama Shikaye Saranagati Aroe Utama Jaya Swapasara Jaya Gurari Swapasara Jaya Gurari Jaya Jaya Rupa Sanatan, Jaya Rupa Sanatan, Rupa Sanatan, Jaya Rupa Sanatan, Jaya. Do you know how to sing the Kesha Vastakam?
Yes,
More than us.
yes. Practice.
Okay. You want to do that now? I can put on my phone. You have a phone.
I remember in Hollywood we used to
Yeah, I still have that email that I sent out that year. I have it like saved bookmark.
Right.
I can just, I can text it. Yeah, no, but the lyrics that he has are translated better than the one in the Go to Your Kirtan app and the one that comes True Love translated is like really amazing.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah.
Can I go on the screen?
I don't have that.
Yeah, it's just if you're in the Go to Your Kirtan mailing list, you can just look up Keshav Sikkim. I can look it up. Just if you set up the screen, please, and then I'll.
I'll sing something while they're getting ready. गौरांगेरा दुति पादा धन संपदा से जाने बा कतिर संसार से जाने बा कतिर संसार गौरांगेरा दुति पादा शंभदा से जाने भगति रससार से जाने भगति रससार गौरांगेरा मधुर लीला जार करने प्रवेशिला गौरांगेरा मधुर लीला जार करने प्रवेशिला हृदया निर्मला बेला हृदया निर्मला बेला हृदया निर्मलो जे गौरांगे नामाला प्रेमोदर तार मोई जाय बलिहारी जे गौरांगे नामाला तार प्रेमोदर तार मोई जाय sing together. Gaurange gunite chore, nityalila tareshware, se jane bhakati adhikari, se jane bhakati adhikari. गौरांगेरा संगी गारे नित्य सीता गौरी माने से जाय ब्रजेंद्र सुत पाशा श्री गौरा मंदारा भूमि जीव जाने चिंतामणि तार होय ब्रज भूमि वासा गौर प्रेम रसना सीता रंगे जीवा देवी से राधा माधव अंतरांगा गृह भवनिते ताके हा गौरांग बोले ताके नारदमा मागे तार संगा गौरा हे गौरा हे गौरा हे गौरा हे गौरा
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do. I don't have my phone. No. So, here, I can find it though. I know it. You have a. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Too many people. But he has Mani Prabhu has like a website, Gaudiya Kirtan and a mailing list.
What about the app?
It's on the app. It's on the app, but there's no translation. It's only in Hindi.
You could probably find it on KK songs too. Number
No.
Peer Community.
Look,
Yeah,
look,
it'll be
Gaudiya-
there.
Gaudiya Kirtan. This one also is super.
You just said it doesn't have to
No,
translate.
not on the Gaudiya Kirtan app, but on his website and his mailing list, he has an article that he wrote. It's not really good. He did really like the translation. But if it's there, yeah, just reading. Yeah, we were reading it. We didn't like it. So like he says, like Gaudiya Kirtan. G-A-U. I'm sorry, I thought. This was last thing.
Just do this for now.
Yeah, we'll do this for now. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm sorry, guys. Just reading.
What does this have in English?
Yeah,
I have English, but I remember the other year when we read this translation, we didn't like it.
This, now this. It's good enough.
Nobody can attempt to play Mridanga for the speed. The speed is really hard though.
It's so simple.
No,
Why
it's
not?
not. It's like da 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 da.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Maybe we can.
Because
I figured
Rasika
that.
was here.
Yeah, no, she showed me how to do the beat. But I want to watch the video again one time.
Maybe somebody who already plays and done that.
Yeah,
And listen to him when he plays with it.
नवाप्रियकमञ्जरी रचितकर्णपुराश्रियां विनीन्द्रतरमालती कलितशेखरिणोज्ज्वलां दरोजवसितयुतिका ग्रथितवल्गुवैकक्षकां व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशताकेशवा पिशाङ्गिमणिकस्तनि प्रणतशृङ्गिपिङ्गे क्षणे मृदङ्गमुखिदुमले शबलिहंसि वंशि प्रिये इति सासुरभिकुला तरलमाभयन्तं मुदा व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतकेशवा घनाप्रणयमेदुरान् मधुरनर्मगोष्ठीकला विलासनिलयान् मिलन् विविधवेशविद्योतिना सखीलखिलसारया पतिषु हासयन्तं गिरा व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतकेशवा श्यामाम्बुकनिकावली दरविलिसितरागतातरा सुबोधगिरिधातुभिर् लिखितचारुपत्रङ्कुराम् उदञ्चदलिमण्डले धृतिविदामिव क्रालका व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतकेशवा निवादनवतरका
बलिविलोकनोत्कण्ठया नतात् कुरपुताञ्चलेर् अलुगुभिर्भुवं विन्दताम् करेण धवलागतां लघुनिवर्तयन्तं पुरो व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा पदाङ्कततिभिर्बलां विरचयन्तमश्रिया चलतरलनैचिकी निचयदूरिदुम्रासजा मरुल्लहरि चञ्चले धृतदुकूलचूराञ्चला व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा विलासमुरलीकला ध्वनिविलोलसन्मानसा क्षणालखिलबालवे पुलकयन्तमन्तर्गृहे मुहुर्विदधतं हृदि प्रमुदितं च कुष्ठेश्वरा व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा उपेत्यपतिसुन्दरी ततिभिराविरव्यर्जिता स्मिताङ्कुरकरं वितेर् न तदभङ्गभङ्गी सतैः स्तनास्तवकसञ्चरन् नयनं चञ्चरीकञ्चला व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा इदां निखिलबालवे कुलमहोत्सवो लासना क्रमेण किल यः पुमान् पतति श्रुतपद्याष्टकाम् तनुज्वलधियं सदा निजपदारविन्दत्वये रतिं ददलञ्चलं सुखयतार्निशाकसखा भजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा भजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा भजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवा जय राधे
जय केशव
I worship Keshav who returns from the forest of Braj with his ears beautified with earrings made of fresh kadamba buds, whose crown is brightened by blooming malati flowers, and around whose neck a wreath of slightly blooming utika flowers is wound. I worship Keshav who returns from the forest of Braj, joyfully wandering amongst his Suravi cows, calling them by name, Pishangi, Manikastani, Pranatasringi, Pingekshane, Mridangamukhi, Dhumare, Shabali, Hamsi, Bangshi Priye. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Braj. He is softened by deep love, enjoys sweet joking conversations, and he is the abode of all playful enjoyments. He shines in many different dresses and laughs at the best jokes that his friends make along the way. I worship Keshav, who returns from the forest of Braj. The leaves that were painted on his cheeks with mountain minerals are slightly washed away by drops of perspiration, and his curly locks defeat the luster of a cluster of bees. I worship Keshav, who returns from the forest of Braj. The cows that eagerly look at their bound-up calves deeply carve the soil with their dancing hooves, and he withholds them with the soft playing of his flute. I worship Keshav, who returns from the forest of Braj, beautifying the roads with his footprints, whose garland is made gray by the dust thrown upon by his herd of restless cows, and whose cloth and scarf and crown are all moving along with the waves of the blowing wind. I worship Keshav, who returns from the forest of Braj, where he gladdened the minds of all the cowherd girls at once with the playful and artful tones of his moodily flute, which causes them to horripilate of ecstasy within their inner quarters, and who constantly gives joy to the heart of the queen of Braj, Yashoda. I worship Keshav, who returns from the forest of Braj, being worshipped by hundreds of dancing, playful glances and beautiful smiles of the beautiful girls on the road, and the corners of whose bee-like eyes move restlessly around their bud-like breasts. To anyone who nicely recites these 8 prayers that are a festival of bliss for all the cowherd girls, the friend of Vishaka, Sri Krishna, will give firm, fixed attachment to his lotus feet. Such a pure-minded soul will attain all happiness.
I heard that in this month of Vaishak,
that in the month of Vaishak, this is the month that Krishna takes shelter of Vishaka Devi to learn Shringar of Srimati Radhika, to learn how to braid her hair.
She's such an artist.
Yeah.
Such a nice way too.
Okay. So, Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna,
Oh no, I'll grab them.
I'll take the other
Agyanam timirandasya Jnananjana salakaya Chakshuram militam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tudaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah Yam Pravajantam Manupejamapeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruvajuhava Putre Ditam Mayataya Taravo Benedus Tam Sarva Bhuta Vidayam Munimana Tosmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shriptastu Kamari Karam Damari Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Printe Namaste Sharanaravindam Tavaivasmi Najivanitam Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Sharanam. Can you make this longer?
Yep.
Kripayati Yadi Radha Badita Shesha Badha Kimapada Vishishtam Pusti Maryada Yorme Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Smera Sodita Srir Dvijavaramani Pantya Mukti Shuktya Tadakim Shama Sundar Shikanda Shekhara Smera Samurali Manohar Radhika Rasikamam Kripanidhe Swapriya Charana Kinkari Pranata Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimukha Jarasalona Satapadam Radhika Padatale Kritasite Tvam Bhajami Rasikendra Shekhara Samvidaya Dashane Chinam Vibo Pradaye Bhajanayendrananda Astu Mohan Tavati Bhagava Janma Janmani Marishwari Priya. If Sri Radha is merciful to me, then unlimited obstacles in my devotion will be removed. There will be nothing superior for me to attain, because I will have received the excellence offered by the paths of both Vaidhi and Rag. And if she speaks something while smiling gently, thereby revealing the brilliance of the rows of her pearl-like teeth, what significance will the oyster of liberation have? O Shamasundar, or you whose head is adorned with peacock feathers, whose face is graced with a laughing smile, whose Murali flute enchants the mind, and who are most expert in relishing ras with Srimati Radhika. O ocean of mercy, please make me a kinkari maidservant at the feet of your beloved. You are the Lord of the life of the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj. You want to start the Tulsi garden?
Yes.
And you are like a bee, always eager to taste the nectar of her lotus face. O Rasikendra Shekhar, foremost of those who are Rasik, who are situated at the feet of Srimati Radhika, I worship you. O son of the king of Braj, O all-pervading one, O Mohan, who enchants the minds of all. Taking a piece of straw in my teeth, I pray that your supremely beloved Sri Radha be my dear worshipful goddess, birth after birth. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityavira Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Asto Prasad Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityavira Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Asto Prasad Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. To our Param Gurudev, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. To all his divine associates, to all of our Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all the assembled devotees and the assembled devotees Diksha Gurus who are my Shiksha Gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Pan Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Nevi Maharaj. So here we are in, oh, I forgot something.
All for good.
You are not a book. You are Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj Pariksit, yourself. And we are sitting here at your lotus feet. Please bestow your mercy upon us so that we can realize whatever you're telling us as we sit at your feet. And let us come out of this as Radha Dasi. Okay, so we are beginning now the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We're going to devote part of the class to the beginning of the 6th canto, question and answer by Pariksit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami. And then we'll devote the next part of the class to some questions that I received from a young devotee in India in relation to the same topic. So verse 1, Maharaj Pariksit said, O my Lord, O Sukadeva Goswami, you have already described in the 2nd canto the path of liberation, Nivriti Marg. By following that path, one is certainly elevated gradually to the highest planetary system, Brahmalok, from which one is promoted to the spiritual world along with Lord Brahma. Thus, one's repetition of birth and death in the material world ceases. So he's introducing his question. O great sage, Sukadeva Goswami, unless the living entity is freed from the infection of the material modes of nature, he receives different types of bodies in which to enjoy or suffer. What is the material modes of nature? An infection. Even the mode of goodness, which is experienced by saintly persons and persons on heavenly planets, it's still an infection. Just like Mahatma Gandhi was, in Prabhupada's words, he was a saint among the something among the saints. Sorry?
Politicians.
Yeah, a saint among the politician and a politician among the saints. Anyway, so he was arrested for doing his nonviolent, all those things. And he was put in jail, but he was put in a very special jail for special saints, but it was still a jail. So similarly, even the mode of goodness is a jail, is an infection. He receives different types of bodies to enjoy or suffer, and according to the body, he's understood to have various inclinations. Like what? Like what are those big guys that look like, they look like dinosaurs, but they're tiny?
Lizards,
No,
iguanas.
like the iguana has a tendency to jump on Tulsi like a trampoline and break all of her and then eat her. So according to the body, one has various inclinations. By following these inclinations, he traverses the path called pravriti. So there's pravriti and nirvriti. Nirvriti means the path towards liberation, and pravriti means the path of transmigration. Pravriti marg. Marg means the path. Like we want to be on the path of Rag Marg, or path of Raganuga Bhakti, by which one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, as you have already described in the third canto. And there's a very nice verse from Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada quotes in the purport. Janti deva vratan devan pitrin janti pitri vrataha bhutani janti puteja janti maja janopimam. So again, nothing is random. As you sow, shall you reap. Krishna says here, if you worship the demigods, then you go to the planets of the demigods. If you worship your ancestors, you go to their planet, a heavenly planet. If you worship ghosts and spirits, you go there. And if you worship me, you come to me. So now Parigata is continuing. You have also described at the end of the fifth canto the varieties of hellish planets that result from impious activities. And you have described in the fourth canto the first Manvantara, which was presided over by Swayambhuva Manu, the son of Lord Brahma. My dear Lord, he's reviewing what he already heard and introducing his question. My dear Lord, you have described the dynasties and characteristics of King Priyavrata and King Uttanapada. Who's in Uttanapada's dynasty? Dhruva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead created this material world with various universes, planetary systems, planets, stars, varied lands, seas, oceans, mountains, rivers, gardens, and trees, all with different characteristics. These are divided among the planet Earth, the luminaries in the sky, and the lower planetary systems. You have very clearly described these planets and the living entities who live on them. Oh, greatly fortunate and opulent Sukadeva Goswami, now kindly tell me how human beings can be saved from having to enter hellish conditions in which they suffer terrible pains. So Sukadeva Goswami is now replying, my dear king, if before one's next death, whatever impious acts one has performed in this life with his mind, so devotees sometimes ask that, I heard that in Kali Yuga, if you commit a sin with your mind, like I wish I could kill that guy, then you don't get the reaction. But that's not actually true, because one of the, or a few of the offenses to the holy name is considering the names of the demigods to be equal to or independent of the names of the Lord. considering or identifying this body as myself, maintaining material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on the matter. So you do get it from mind. One of Gurudev's disciples asked him, so I understand we're not supposed to criticize anybody with our tongue, but what about in our mind? It's hard to control that. And Gurudev said, I know you do that, because I can read minds. Stop. So whatever impious acts one has performed in this life with his mind, words, and body are not counteracted through proper atonement, according to the description in the Manu Samhita. This is the real answer here. And other Dharma Shastras. One will certainly enter the hellish planets after death and undergo terrible suffering, as I have previously described to you. In other words, the way that you counteract impious activities is to do atonement. But we'll see that that doesn't really work. Therefore, before one's next death comes, as long as the body is strong enough, one should quickly adopt the process of atonement according to Shastra. Otherwise, one's time will be lost, and the reactions of one's sins will increase. As an expert physician diagnoses and treats a disease according to its gravity, one should undergo atonement according to the severity of one's sins. But then Maharaj Pariksit says, one may know that sinful activity is injurious for him because he actually sees that a criminal is punished by the government and rebuked by people in general. And because he hears from scriptures and learned persons that one is thrown, like if you're out of jail, but you were in jail for pedophile, then even if you're out of jail, you're not allowed to live 25 miles near a school where there are kids. So you're rebuked by the people in general as well.
Didi, can you say
Loud?
like to me it seems like
Can I give you this mic?
That one's ready for you.
Personally, it just seems like if you were reading the description of the hellish planets, you would find God to be very cruel because the sin doesn't feel proportionate to the suffering. Like if somebody drinks wine or alcohol, like that's horrible for them. They have to suffer. Nobody else, I mean, that's like something that they go through. But then to have like boiling, molten hot iron thrown down their throat does not feel like an appropriate punishment. It just feels so disproportionate. So I want to know what you have to say about that.
Yes.
Yes, it does seem like that. But as we read and discussed the other day, it's not really happening to him on a gross level. It's happening, he's not this mind, but he's covered with a subtle body that can't be killed. So from his point of view, he's suffering for millions of years, but he can't die, like brought up to the top of a mountain, thrown down, then he's broken into little pieces from the fold and they bring him up, throw him down again, repeatedly. So it's not happening to his to any gross body. But in order to be purified from that tendency, he has to be scared into being purified. Because as we just read, even if a person sees that other criminals are being imprisoned and rebuked, still he's so uncontrolled that he can't stop. So first he's thrown into the hells, and then he gets an appropriate material body. Like yesterday we were reading about that he's thrown into this lake full of stools and pus and blood and urine, and he has to eat them. He's forced to, he's living in a lake and he has to eat them. So then he gets an appropriate body, a real material body, by which he can gradually develop to be a human again. And that would be, of course, a pig's body. And he's accustomed to eating stool. So I'm going to read something from the Jaiva Dharma, which answers that question. And then when it comes to a human, do you know the story of the beggar who was caught in a tunnel? It's a sad story. Huh? Blind, what did I say? A beggar. A blind beggar. A blind man. So that, a blind man, he walks like that. Wait. He has his cane, walking, and then he's kind of feeling around him. So he was walking around in a village, and then he ended up in a cave, like a cave, but it was like a long, long tunnel. So he wanted to find his way out. So he was holding his cane and touching everything to find some space so he could get out. So this tunnel was really long. It was 8,400,000 miles long. So he was just about to come to the end of the trail where there was a space out. But at that time he got an itch. So he missed it. And then after he scratched himself, he was again in the tunnel. So this is like the painting that I did of after coming through all the species of life, he comes to the human form, and then you can see you're looking at the back of the man. Can you get that poster? You're looking at the back of the man because he's kind of dipping his toe into the ocean to see how it feels for him to dive in. So even though this happens again and again, and not only that, great, I didn't know we had a chicle ovaries to Srimati. So you can see here, finally he comes to the human form, and then he's dipping in again to this ocean of material existence, acting like an animal, just eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And then again, he goes through that whole thing. So, because, and it just happened from the, it just happened starting from just turning away from Krishna, by just making that mistake, because of course we're eternal, there's no sense of time, but we have to use mundane language. So at the time of creation, we have a choice to turn to Krishna, because there are different kinds of Krishna. Krishna is, he has to have everything. He has to create everything. So there's the jivas who manifest by Balaram in Vrindavan, the jivas manifest by Balaram in Dwarka, the jivas manifest by Balaram as Mahasankarshan and Vaikuntha, and they are serving their respective lords. then he has to have a Tatastha Jiva, who is Tatastha. Means he can go up and he can go down. So just like a mustard seeds thrown onto the blade of a knife, some pop off this way, some pop off that way. And so we have the choice to go up back immediately to Krishna, or looking down towards the glitter of Maya as a moth is enchanted by the glitter of the fire and flies into it. So then at that time, Maya covers us and throws us through the various species of life. So in the Jaiva Dharma, and then why should we suffer all that just for turning the wrong way, right? Okay, so Brajanath is asking Babaji, Krishna is Karunamayi, means full of mercy. And this also is an answer for Piyush, who's asked the question from India. Krishna is Karunamayi. This is in chapter 16 of Jaiva Dharma. There are 3 chapters that you might want to read about the jiva. The jiva, the nature of the jiva. This chapter is the jiva possessed by Maya, and then the next chapter is the jiva liberated. So Krishna is Karunamayi, full of mercy. So why did he make the jiva so weak that he became entangled in Maya? Babaji, his guru, Babaji Maharaj answered, it is true that Krishna is Karunamayi, overflowing with a desire to perform pastimes. However, he is also Leelamayi, overflowing with mercy. He is also Leelamayi, overflowing with the desire to perform pastimes. Desiring various pastimes to be enacted in different situations, Krishna made the jivas eligible for all conditions, from the material state to the highest state of Mahabhav, and to facilitate the jivas progressing practically and steadfastly towards becoming qualified for Krishna's service. He also created the lower levels of material existence, beginning with the lowest inert matter, up to ahankar, the false ego, which are the cause of unlimited obstruction in attaining Paramananda. Having fallen from their constitutional position, it's like a child. The child wants to imitate the mother. He wants to cook, but he's just a little kid. If he wants to imitate the mother in cooking. So she doesn't want to give him a stove to use a fire. So she gives him a little, if you go to the store, you get this little clay stove with little clay pots and clay bowls, clay food. And the child can be his imitation mother. Then when he grows up, he can have a real stove. So similarly, Krishna, because we want to be imitation gods. In Prabhupada's words, why should Krishna be all in all? I'm as good as Krishna. Icha dvesha, Krishna says in the Gita, the living entity is born into the world of delusion, overcome by the dualities of desire and hate. Desire to be Krishna, and hatred of the fact that Krishna is already Krishna. Being in competition. So Krishna gives us, in Prabhupada's words, this imitation world to play imitation God consciousness. But then, just like a father, this is another example of Prabhupada's, which I heard in the beginning of the movement. Sometimes if a child is extremely naughty, like he'll set fire to people's cars and things, the father who loves the child will give him to what's called a reform school. You know, a reform school with a very, you know about that, right? With a very hard taskmaster and give a lot of punishment when he does something wrong to scare him out of it. So then they send him back to the father, right? So this is like a reform school or like an Alcatraz. That's another Prabhupada's analogy. Alcatraz is a prison in the middle of the sea and somewhere in Europe. So this material world is like that. Okay. But it's not, the amazing thing is that it's not really happening. Okay, so he creates everything to give us an opportunity to go where we want to go. Right. Having fallen from their constitutional position, the jivas who are entangled in Maya are indifferent to Krishna and engrossed in personal sense gratification. However, Krishna is the reservoir of mercy. The more the jiva becomes fallen, the more Krishna provides him with opportunities to attain the highest spiritual perfection. He brings this about by appearing before him along with his spiritual Dham, and he keeps coming himself. And then he gives the books that tell about it. And then he sends his pure devotees. He comes, he sends his pure devotees, he sends his Dham. Those jivas who take advantage of this merciful opportunity and sincerely endeavor to attain the higher position gradually reach the spiritual world and attain the state similar to that of Krishna's eternal associates. Yeah, Bhajans says, but why do the jivas suffer for the sake of Bhagavan's pastimes? So Babaji says, the jivas possess some independence. This is actually a sign of Bhagavan's special mercy. Because if he didn't have independence, he would be like a table. The jiva has attained sovereignty of the inert world only because of his independent desire. Misery and happiness are conditions of the mind. It's not real. Thus, what we may consider misery is happiness for one who is engrossed in it. Since all varieties of material sense gratification finally result in nothing but misery, a materialistic person only achieves suffering. When that suffering becomes excessive, it gives rise to a search for happiness. And the tendency for inquiry is born, as we discussed the other day. Well, why do I have to keep getting cut fingers and all those things? Is there a way out of the whole thing? At a certain point, he stops saying, all right, let me go to the doctor. From that desire to inquire how to have real happiness, discrimination arises. And from discrimination, the tendency for inquiry is again born. As a result of this, one attains satsanga just by inquiring. Like before I met Prabhupada, I was thinking, there's got to be some other place. I'm suffering too much here. And then I met Prabhupada. Whereupon Shraddha develops. When Shraddha is born, the jiva ascends to the higher stage, namely the path of bhakti. Now here's a very important one, which I sort of mentioned yesterday. Gold is purified by heating and hammering. First, it has impurities on it. Being indifferent to Krishna, the jiva has become impure through engaging in mundane sense gratification. Therefore, he must be purified by being beaten with the hammers of misery of the jivas averse to Krishna. And by this, he finally culminates in happiness, real, permanent, eternal happiness. Suffering is therefore just a sign of Bhagavan's mercy. There's an example that Prabhupada gives. Of a boy who was taken care of by his aunt, and he became very naughty, and she just tolerated it.
I like this one.
He became so naughty that he finally committed a murder, and he was sentenced to death. So they said, we're going to give you one last wish. What do you want? He said, I want my aunt to come and visit me. So she came, and he said, come close, as though he was going to whisper into his ear. And Haridas, what do you do?
He bit off her ear.
He bit off her ear. He said, if you would have punished me when I was young and I just did little things, I wouldn't be dying and you wouldn't be crying. So the punishment is Krishna's mercy. So anyway, here's the gold. The gold is purified by heating and hammering. Being indifferent to Krishna, the jiva has become impure through engaging in mundane sense gratification. Therefore, he must be purified by being beaten with the hammers of misery. On the anvil is what they beat the gold on. We have to be beaten on the anvil of misery. Who does he do that to? The jivas averse to Krishna. But it culminates in happiness. Therefore, suffering is a sign of Krishna's mercy. That is why far-sighted people see the suffering of jivas in Krishna's pastimes as auspicious, though the nearsighted can only see it as an inauspicious source of misery. Then Brajanath asked, he's not satisfied yet. The jiva's suffering in its conditioned state is ultimately auspicious. Okay, but in the present state, it is very painful. Since Krishna is omnipotent, couldn't he think of a less troublesome path? I mean, really, he's God. He can create something that's impossible to do and then do it. He can put what is it about the elephant?
Needle.
He can put an elephant through the eye of a needle. So why can't he do this? Why couldn't he have made a less troublesome path? So Babaji said, Krishna's Leela is extremely wonderful and of many varieties. This is also one of them. If Bhagavan is independent and almighty and performs all kinds of pastimes, why should not this be the only pastime that he doesn't perform? No pastime can be rejected if there is to be full variety. Besides, the participants in other types of pastimes also must accept some kind of suffering. Krishna is the enjoyer. Here's the thing. Krishna is the enjoyer, Purusha, and the active agent, the Karta. All ingredients and paraphernalia are controlled by his desire and subject to his activities. It is natural to experience some suffering when one is controlled by the desire of the agent, if you don't want to be controlled. So it's all about aversity. However, if that suffering brings pleasure, in the end, it's not real suffering, and the whole thing is illusion anyway. How can you call it suffering? The so-called suffering that one undergoes in order to nourish and support Krishna's pastimes is actually a source of delight. I'll explain that further. The jiva's independent desire has caused him to abandon the pleasure of serving Krishna and instead accept suffering and Maya. This is the jiva's fault, not Krishna. So in the spiritual world, there's also suffering. Mother Yasoda suffers when she's worried about Krishna. The gopis suffering in separation from Krishna and feeling the pain of Krishna not being with them. What else? Who else suffers?
Subal when he thinks he's beaten Krishna in a game, but then Krishna's nose is up, so it turns out Krishna actually won.
Yeah, there's all kinds of suffering, but why do they enjoy that suffering?
It's for Krishna's pleasure.
Because it's for Krishna's pleasure, exactly. Because they're only concerned about Krishna. Mother Yasoda chastises Krishna so that he'll become a good boy and not a thief when he grows up, but of course it didn't work. Then she's always worried about him. Where is he now? Is some animal attacking him? And she makes sure that the strongest boys stand near Krishna when he's going out to the fields. And then the gopis suffer, not because of their own separation, but because they want Krishna to be with them, because they know that that's Krishna's only real happiness, highest happiness. So, because Krishna is in the center of their suffering is joyous. But here, because I'm in the center, my suffering feels like suffering. So it's because of my independent desire to be Krishna, that's why I'm suffering. Now Bhajans still wasn't satisfied. Well, what harm would there have been if the jiva had not been given independent desire? Krishna's omniscient, and he gave this independence to the jivas, even though he knew that they would suffer. He knew what each one of them would choose. So isn't he responsible for the jiva's suffering? Babaji said, independence is a special jewel, in the absence of which inert objects are insignificant and worthless. Like, would you rather have independent desire or be a table? And actually, even a table comes from the independent desire of people to be naked in public. Then they have to become a tree, and they have to get cut down and become a table. If the jiva had not received independence, he would have also become as insignificant and worthless as material objects. Would you rather be a pillow with no consciousness?
No.
No, I would rather be a person and put pillows in their right place. The jiva is an atomic spiritual entity, so he must certainly have the qualities of spiritual objects. The only difference is that Bhagavan, who is complete spiritual object, possesses all these qualities in full, whereas the jiva only has them to a very minute degree. So it goes on like that. Well, then Bhajans says, well, okay, is Maya the cause of our misfortune? Would the jivas have had to suffer like this if the omnipotent and omniscient Krishna had kept Maya away from him? So Babaji says, Maya is a reflected transformation of Krishna's internal potency, Swarup Shakti, and it is like a fiery furnace where the jivas who are not qualified for Krishna seva are chastised and made fit for the spiritual world. Maya is Krishna's maidservant in order to purify the jivas who have turned against Krishna. She punishes them, gives appropriate therapy, and purifies them. The infinitesimal jiva has forgotten that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, and for this offense, why is it an offense? It's an offense. Krishna decides what's an offense and what's not an offense. Maya, taking the form of a witch, Pisachi, punishes them. So we are haunted by the witch of Maya. This material world is like a jail, and Maya is the jailer who imprisons the estranged jivas and punishes them. A king constructs a prison. Okay, let's say there's a mother, and one of the mother's kids is sick with typhoid, and the other kid is fine. So she's not going to give them the same thing to eat. Just like you all here eat pizza and pasta and chocolate cake and all that stuff, and I don't, because I'm not strong and healthy like you. Huh? Well, that's another point of view. But anyway, so why? She loves both children equally, but one of them she made fast or given bitter tasting medicine, and the other one she gives pizza and pasta. But she loves them equally. So this material world is like a jail, and Maya is the jailer. Here, a king constructs a prison for the benefit of his subjects. And in the same way, Krishna has shown an immense mercy towards the jivas by making this prison-like material world, and appointing Maya as a custodian. Why don't I like it? Why do I still think, after hearing all this, why do I still think it's not fair? He could have done something differently.
Because I'm stuck in it.
Because we're averse. We're averse to Krishna. We don't like what he does. Now Brajanath is saying, if this material world is a prison, it also requires some suitable shackles. What are they?
The three modes of nature.
That is exactly right. The three modes of nature. These fetters bind the jiva, whether his inclination is ignorance, passionate, or goodness. Because their shackles may be made of different substances.
Bronze, silver, or
That's right. Iron, silver, or gold, but they're still shackles. So this is all to encourage us in preaching. It makes no difference in the pain of being bound. According to different living entities' tendencies, there's different kinds of capturing. Like once there was an ice cream truck when Prabhupada was in the middle of giving a lecture. Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. And so Prabhupada said, he was singing the song of the ice cream truck. Hari Das, take it away.
come on, enjoy me.
Come on, enjoy me. And so he said, this is like different living entities get captured by different means according to their uncontrolled senses. How does a fish get controlled?
Its tongue.
Its tongue. You put a worm on a thing, hook, and he grabs onto the worm. Being ignorant, he doesn't realize he's grabbing onto the hook. Pull him out of the water, finished. Flaps around in the sky, and then finished. What about a deer?
Smell, musk. Oh no, the ears, the sound, flutes.
So the hunter plays a flute and captures the deer that way. What about a bee? Smell. So he flies into a Venus flytrap by the smell. What about an elephant?
Touch.
Close. Touch. Sex desire. So they have a female elephant lure the male elephant into a ditch. And then the female elephant is trained to put the shackles around the feet of the elephant. And then she climbs out, and then he's stuck there, and then they capture him and bring him to the circus or kill him or whatever. But the thing is about the human, what is the human can't control?
Everything.
5 senses plus the mind. So it's like a man has 5 wives, and he goes to one of the wives' houses, and all of the wives are there, and they're each pulling on one of his limbs, or his eyes, or his ears, leg. Come on, enjoy me. Come on, enjoy me. So okay. Then he said, well, how can the shackles of Maya bind the atomic conscious jiva? Shishi Radha Ramandi Hariji Ki Jai. He said, actually, the material world can't touch spiritual objects. However, as soon as the jiva develops the conception that he's the enjoyer of Maya, his atomic spiritual form is covered by a subtle body and then ego. This is how the shackles of Maya bind his legs. The jiva, having sattvic ego, or ego in the mode of goodness, reside in the higher planets and are called devatas. So I think that's it. I mean, there's a lot more that they're covering here. So because this young devotee asked, like, why would Krishna let a girl be raped? She's just innocently walking down the street at night or in the woods alone. That already is not being discriminating. And then she's so innocent, but she gets raped. Or why would a young man be walking through the streets and then he passes this gang fight and then he also gets beaten? Why is this happening? And why is, well, I think that was answered here and also answered in the hellish planets descriptions and answered by this question and answer of Brajanath and Babaji, and answered by the question and answer of Parikit and Sukadeva Goswami. That according to the severity of the sin, one has suffered that much. Then the young devotee asked, so Kali Yuga is gradually becoming more and more degraded for 437 more years. And 432 is the whole thing. And so it's 427,000 more years, because 5,000 years is already gone. So why is Krishna creating this Kali Yuga? It's good for Harinam, yes, because there's a quick way out, Harinam. In previous ages, you had to do thousands of years of austerity or temple worship or sacrifices. But it's very bad for irreligion because they get more and more irreligious. And even Kalki comes at the end and kills everybody and ushers in another Sati Yuga where people live for 100,000 years in happiness, sort of happiness. So why? So what's the use of us? Is there any use of us trying to help somebody if they're suffering due to irreligion or they're the victim of their religion? I mean, it's going to happen anyway. But why not just let it go? Is there any use if somebody's trying to rape a girl? Is there any use to try to stop that? If it's that person's karma? So, but I'll start answering. We can't stop Kalki. I'll just go on with these questions. So what is our duty? Is stopping, is preaching even against God's will that Kali Yuga is going to get worse and worse? Why preach if it's going to happen anyway? One thing is that in this age of Kali, Kalki is not coming. He's not coming. There's a song in our songbook called, by Rupa Goswami, called Yam Kali Rupa Savira Nadarata. So, this age of Kali is called Dhanya Kali, or Blessed Kali, because of Chaitanya Avatar. That is the song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of him, Kali Yuga is blessed and Kalki won't be coming. Things are going down, like the waves are going this way in the ocean or river, but then there are different eddies. Eddies is like a counter wave going the other way. In Satya Yuga, everything was in the mode of goodness, the waves, but there were some eddies going the other way, like Hiranyakashipu. Why? To teach the glory of being a pure devotee, how powerful you come, and how merciful you become. Because after all, Hiranyakashipu did to Prahlad, Prahlad prayed for his deliverance from the material hell and material world. So, let's say a person has a karma to get beaten, but they may have the karma that they get stopped beaten at a certain point. Or the girl may have a karma that it's stopped at a certain point. So if you help her, that's great. That's one thing. Second thing, what is the point in preaching? Because the point in preaching is that even though Kali Yugas gradually go down, the person who is preached to, the person who associates with the pure devotees, the person who associates with the hundreds of volumes of Vedic literature that we have, and especially a person who can rightly explain them, that person doesn't go down with Kali Yuga. Do you folks here in this room feel that you're in Kali Yuga? Not really, not what the people out there feel. So those who come in contact with the devotees, even the neophyte devotees, who give them books, who give them Harinam, who give them Prasadam, they're not affected by that going down. And they can even get liberated in one life if they have previous sufficient sukritis and sanskars, or spiritual pious activities and the impressions that makes in the heart. In fact, without preaching, how is bhakti yoga entered into the world? In the Brahma Samhita it says, Karmadi nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan. That anyone who becomes my pure devotee, he's released from every single drop of his karma. And even if he's not a pure devotee, he only gets a summary of the karma that he deserves by being in contact with pure devotees. So therefore, it's very important to distribute all the books, distribute Harinam, distribute Prasadam, distribute the art. Madhusudan is raising his hand.
For distributing the books of
Come closer so we can hear you.
If we're distributing the books
Distributing Tulsi too.
If we are distributing the books written by our acharyas, is that considered being in contact with our pure devotees?
Who is in contact?
Because it said those that, even if they're not pure devotees, just from being in contact with the pure devotees, you get a summary. So distribute the books. That's what you said. So does that mean that distributing the books puts us in contact with those that wrote the book?
Certainly. Srila Bhakti Pragan Keshav Goswami Maharaj calls the books, I forget the exact words, Shastriya Shiksha, Shastra Shiksha Guru, or something like that. That's the meaning. Just like we pray to the book before we read the book. Oh Prabhu, you're not a book. You are, in this case, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, yourself, Mahaprabhu and your associates yourself, Babaji yourself, Brajanath yourself, Vijay Kumar yourself. Please all of you bestow mercy upon us so that we can realize your divine words. Like definitely this question and answer that I just read, we really need mercy. Because even hearing that the suffering in this world is like the beating of a gold, still, why couldn't you have done something different? I know I'm gold, but why couldn't you have just made me gold in the beginning? Because there are jivas who are gold in the beginning. Why couldn't that have been me? Why did he have to create me as a tatastha jiva? Also, he heard that that there's no incarnation of the Lord in Kali Yuga except Kalki, who kills everybody, and where everybody, if you're 30 years old, you'll be considered a grand old man at the end of Kali Yuga, and where people eat people. So actually, there is an incarnation in Kali Yuga, and that is, who is it? Mahaprabhu. So, but he's called Tri Yuga. Another name of Mahaprabhu is Tri Yuga, because God appears as God in the other yugas, like who? Ram, Krishna, Shringadev, Vaman. But in Kali Yuga, he appears as a devotee. Therefore, he's called Chana Avatar, hidden avatar. So definitely, those who come in contact with devotees by the Harinam, even though when a pure devotee chants, it's like throwing a big rock in a pool, and it creates concentric circles to the end of the pool. Very powerful. If I chant on Harinam, it's like a butterfly wing being thrown into the pond. Doesn't do much, but something is better than nothing. Actually, I asked Gurudev in Italy, because he wanted all the devotees to go out in Harinam. So I said, but you just said in Costa Rica that if we chant, our chanting is like the butterfly wing. So why are you sending us out? He said, when the pure devotee orders the devotees to go out, and they're going out under his guidance, then he's also going out and giving his power in the Harinam. So there you go. So I hope you can go a lot with them. Let's see, I think that's all of his questions. And the time is also up. Yeah, preaching is not going against God's plan. It's going, it is God. Preaching is God. Because he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came in so many incarnations just to deliver souls. So many books. Actually, Prabhupada once said that the book distributors may come and go, but the books themselves are spreading their mercy, for distributing themselves. Let's see if I have any. Yeah, also in this book, Harinam Mahamantra, it describes that there is a way out of Kali Yuga. What is it? Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatir Ananta. Also in this book, a harmony book, there's one section called I Cheated Him First.
Rudy, are we gonna do verse learning in the mornings again?
Yes, as a matter of fact, today we're going to learn one. Santi, she's our president. Anyway, so just end the sentence. There's a section here called I cheated them first. If you punch somebody and then he punches you twice as hard, you can't blame him. Okay, so Vasanti, please come here. Santi's our fearless leader here, our president. Now, Vasanti, I'd like you to tell us something about yourself.
Okay.
Wait, take the mic. You ready?
Yeah.
Tell us something about yourself, Vasanti.
Okay. I'll tell you something about myself. I'm not a Brahmin. I'm not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya or Sudra, sannyasi. I'm not a brahmachari. I'm not a householder. I'm not a Vanapras either. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Shri Krishna, who is maintained by the gopis. And he's the unlimited ocean of bliss, transcendental bliss, always expanding.
The ocean.
Always expanding the ocean of nectar. And
he exists in
bliss.
Brilliance.
He exists in brilliance.
Well, thank you, Vasanti, for telling us about yourself.
Yeah, no problem.
So we're going to learn. We're going to memorize. Wait, you can say it in Sanskrit. Why don't you tell us about yourself in Sanskrit, Vasanti?
Right.
I think I will.
Aham Jarapati
Napi.
Sudro Sudro Varnina Grihapati Vaishyo Sudro.
No.
I'm not a good father.
Navanasto
Tirva Kintu Purnami
Nikhila Purnamananda Purnamavita
Gopi Vartu Dasaya
Padakamalaya Dasa 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 Dasa. Thank you, Vasanti. Okay. So let's go to that verse. Where is it? Where is the verse? Madhya 1380. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, verse, chapter 13, verse 80. The way to remember that's verse 80 is that 80 comes from 40 and 40. So you're not the 4 varnas and you're not the 4 ashrams. You're 0, 8, 0, none of these. Does everybody have it on your phone? You don't have a phone, you don't know how to do it?
I don't know what. I'm not even
What
sure.
we're
You
talking
can
about.
participate with me.
Okay, Godiva's gonna teach you how to do it.
Yes.
And if I just say a verse, you just pull it up on your phone like that. Magic. Kali Yuga does have some good thing. Tomorrow we'll learn the verse about Kali Yuga.
Which one? Oh, that one.
It's one good quality, although it's an ocean of faults.
Ocean. It's a dosha. Something dosha.
An ocean of dosha. But still, it's one good quality. Simply by chanting the holy name, one becomes liberated. Okay. Can I share your phones? Okay. Let's repeat after me. I am not
I am not.
I'm not a Brahmana.
I am not a Brahmana.
I'm not a Kshatriya.
I am not a
I'm
Kshatriya.
not a Vaishya.
I'm not a Vaishya.
I'm not a Sudra.
I'm not a Sudra.
I'm not a Brahman. I'm not a Vaishya. A Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya or a Sudra.
I'm not a Brahmin. I'm not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya or a Sudra.
I'm not a brahmachari or a grihastha or a vanaprastha or a sannyasi.
I'm not a brahmachari. I'm not a grihastha. I'm not a vanaprastha or a sannyasi.
Okay, now let's do 2 lines. I'm not a Brahman, I'm not a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Sudra. I'm not a brahmachari or a grihastha or a vanaprastha or a sannyasi.
I'm not a Brahmin. I'm not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya or a Sudra. I'm not a brahmachari. I'm not a grihastha. I'm not a vanaprastha or a sannyasi.
Okay, Kadavadi, Vasandi, can you repeat that? You have the mic? Who has the mic? I have the mic. So now repeat the English, I'll repeat it. Okay, I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. I
identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna.
He who is maintained by the gopis.
He who is maintained by the gopis.
There's an editorial mistake there. He was maintained by the gopis. Let's start from the beginning. I'm not a Brahmana.
I'm not a
I'm
Brahmana.
not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya or a Sudra. I'm not a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi. My only identification is that of a servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who is maintained by the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, Purnamrita.
He is like an ocean of nectar, Purnamrita.
Purnamrita Bhyam. Purnamrita there, Purnamrita there. Who is an ocean of nectar, who is the cause of universal bliss. Who is the ocean of nectar, who is the cause of universal bliss. He is always existing with brilliance.
He is always existing with brilliance.
Okay, so everybody has to, it's already 10, otherwise we continue here. So everybody has to know that tomorrow. And you also have to know the verse about asking for forgiveness to Mother Earth before you step on her in the morning when you first wake up
What
and
happens
still
if
on
we
your
don't
bed.
know it by tomorrow?
If you don't know it,
By tomorrow.
that means you'll keep committing offenses to Mother Earth.
Okay.
That's what happens.
Jai.
Lord Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Lord Premanandi. Mahaprashade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Svapapanyamata Raja Vishvaso Jayate Sayara